Spurs take game one. Spurs take it 122-115, and it's Wemby with 41 points, 24 rebounds. And hey, Caruso on the other side, though, not too shabby himself, 31 points for the Thunder. Welcome in John Gonzalez and Avery Johnson, our CBS Sports NBA analysts. And I mean, game one, starting with a double-double in the first half from Wemby, and it ends with a double overtime and the Spurs win. What did you think of Wemby and the Spurs game one performance? Avery, I'll start with you.
Incredible performance. You know, I had the Spurs obviously winning this series, not just from a standpoint of emotional and because I played for the Spurs and won a championship and my jersey's retired there. I just thought coming into this series, not by a significant margin, I think the Spurs are a better team. We saw a little bit of a snapshot of that during the regular season. I know that doesn't count, but the Spurs, if Wemby can stay healthy, I think the reason why I picked the Spurs to win this series is because of size on the perimeter. They won this game without De'Aaron Fox. Dylan Harper was forced to start this game tonight. Alex Caruso's performance. My son played with him at Texas A&M for a year. He had an incredible performance. I think that might be a little bit of an outlier. But again, the OKC shot the three extremely well. When you look at Steph Castle with 11 turnovers, so, the Spurs got a lot of things to work on. We know Shea's going to be better. But at the end of the day, if the Spurs can stay healthy, mainly Victor Wembanyama, and the depth on the perimeter, the bench, I think they possibly could be the kryptonite to this OKC team. And that's why I picked them to win this series. This series is not over. It's one game. Okay, I agree with Victor Wembanyama, but at the same time, hey, I'm going to game three. Who knows? It may be 1-1 before I get to game three on Friday. But right now, I think OKC have a little bit of an uphill climb because if you were going to beat this Spurs team, you probably needed to beat them tonight.
Man, what a performance, though. Like that, this is game one, right? Right before we came up on air, I could hear Avery in the background going, wow, 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 which is exactly how I felt and how everybody felt watching a double overtime thriller right out of the gate. And Victor Wembanyama was unbelievable tonight. 41 points and 24 rebounds. Yeah, it was in double overtime, but he's the youngest player ever to have a line like that in the postseason. And the other thing was he was hyper efficient, right? Made 12 of his 13 free throws, was really good from the floor, played incredible defense, made the rim and the paint basically a no-fly zone. Then in overtime, he walks into that transition logo three to tie the proceedings, and then they go to double overtime. He was unbelievable tonight. And if the Spurs had lost this game, they would have been kicking themselves because they were the better team all game long, I thought. Now, Oklahoma City responded, took a second for SGA to get going. As Avery mentioned, Alex Caruso was phenomenal tonight. He was the best player for the Thunder all night long, and they did send it to double overtime. But now, Avery said that the regular season matchups didn't matter. Well, I mean, they kind of matter a little bit because now the Spurs have won 5 out of their 6 meetings with Oklahoma City. And if I'm the Thunder, I'm in my head about that a little bit. They've also now, Oklahoma City, that was just their 8th home loss of the year. Well, guess what? Half of those are courtesy of San Antonio. And again, on a night, as Avery mentioned, where they didn't have De'Aaron Fox, they insert Dylan Harper into the starting lineup and somehow get bigger and more physical and tougher to defend. Dylan Harper's 20 years old. He goes for a double-double tonight and had just 1 turnover. Stephon Castle had a lot of turnovers. He was in the turnover department. He needs to clean that up. But what a remarkable performance all the way around from the Spurs, and especially from Victor Wembanyama. Game one, I don't even smoke. I think I need to lay down a nap maybe.
I know, it was quite a crazy game one, and it's almost impossible to see how game two could even top that. But again, you mentioned this. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he gets his 2nd consecutive MVP trophy before the game, and then gets only 4 points in the first half. So, John, what changed in that second half for him to really get going?
Well, I mean, he started to be more aggressive and he started to get to the free throw line, but I thought it was a little bit too little too late. And what happened in this game, throughout was, and Avery mentioned this, right? The size on the perimeter for the Spurs. We mentioned no De'Aaron Fox, right? Well, so they insert Dylan Harper. He's bigger. So now you've got Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle. They're hounding SGA. Devin Vassell, he had some time on SGA, as did Julian Champagnie. Okay, and now off the bench, here comes Keldon Johnson. None of them gave SGA any room to really operate. And on top of that, SGA likes to get to the line when things aren't going well, right? Well, the problem with that is when he's trying to draw fouls and get to the rim, guess who's down there? Victor Wembanyama is looming, and you could see him sort of think better of it a couple of times. And so by the time SGA got going, it was almost too late. I mean, they did force double overtime here. I don't want to disparage Oklahoma City too much here, but it really would have helped if SGA's supporting cast had really pitched in. I mean, there were basically only two guys for the Thunder that came to play for the entire game. It was Alex Caruso and it was Jalen Williams, who missed 55 games this year, including a huge chunk of the postseason with a hamstring injury. He played great tonight. And then SGA finally got going. But I'm looking at a guy like Chet Holmgren, who was actively awful tonight. 7 shots in a double overtime game. He had that one block against Wemby at the end of regulation. Other than that, he gave them exactly 0 tonight. So yeah, it wasn't SGA's best game on the night when he ends up getting his back-to-back MVP, but also the supporting cast didn't exactly help him out.
Yeah, and when you look at it tonight, think about this. The Spurs made more free throws than the OKC Thunder attempted. That's a huge win. And sure, Shea was, wasn't the best version of himself, but the Spurs won that from a free throw standpoint. So we'll see what happens in game 2. Shea attempted, 9 free throws tonight? But the Spurs were sensational getting the ball to the basket. They were really aggressive. Victor Wembanyama was extraordinary, as my buddy John Gonzalez mentioned. But remember, back when I played with the Spurs in 1995, and David Robinson was presented with the MVP trophy in front of Hakeem Olajuwon, we know how that series turned out. We lost the series. So Shea got the MVP. Victor's not happy about it. So again, you never know. And with this series, Victor Wembanyama, we know he's an extraordinary two-way player. He's not just an offensive player or a defensive player. He's on both ends of the floor. And John mentioned one thing. The Spurs don't really have any bad defenders. When we're switching on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, it's all size. We're not switching some 5'8" guys, some 5'7" guys. We got size across the board, and it was even very impressive because think about this. Coming off the bench, Carter Bryant played 14 minutes. He only had 3 points, but again, size, defense.
Man, what a crazy game 1. We'll have to see what game 2 on Wednesday holds. Avery and John, thank you so much, as always, for the insight. I mean, it can't get better than this. Victor Wembanyama, over 40 points and 20 or more rebounds, in great company with David Robinson for Spurs playoff history here. I mean, since